This video is brought to you by ZBiotics, but more on that in a moment. Hey kids, do you like combos? Final Fantasy is right around the corner and it is bringing a hell of a lot of new cards. 90 new cards in the commander decks across all 4 of them, and then a whole entire draftable set. And then we got some secret layers too, which are mainly reskins, but still, there's just so much Final Fantasy, there's more than you could shake your proverbial materia at. So here's an arbitrarily numbered list of things. 7 to be exact, because 7's the magic number. 7's the most important number in Final Fantasy VIII. So kick back, grab a sody pop and get ready to have these combos drizzled down your gullet. But first, I need to pay my mortgage, so here's a sponsor spot. Last year I got really on top of my health, which included calorie tracking and regular gym visits. But I still like the odd tipple, the odd occasional cider drink. I said that like an old man, I don't know why. And that's where ZBiotics comes in. They are a pre-alcohol probiotic drink, which is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to help tackle that rough morning after drinking alcohol. How it works is pretty simple. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's the blame for your rough next mornings and dodgy tummies. The pre-alcohol enzyme that you drink before having a beer, it helps to break down this byproduct. It's helped me to have a couple of drinks with friends and still get to the gym the next morning instead of skipping it like I'd done in the past. You just have to drink the ZBiotic pre-alcohol and drink responsibly and you'll feel good the next day. My wife and I now use them before we go to weddings and nights out. It's great for the holiday season. It really helps to combat that dicky tummy you can get from booze. Pace yourself, have a ZBiotic before you start, drink some water, get some good night's sleep, and you feel right as rain. Click the link in the description below to get 15% off your first order at checkout, and they also offer a 100% money back guarantee if you're not satisfied for any reason. Thank you to ZBiotics for sponsoring this video. A Realm Reborn is a 6-mana enchantment that says other permanents you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So it makes all permanents you control, from tokens to artifacts to enchantments to battles to whatever the hell you want, able to tap to make you some mana. Sure, it sounds like a ramp card, but what if I told you it plays well with Staxy stuff? There's a whole entire type of artifact that is only active when it's untapped. It's an old school mono artifact, I want to say. It's an old thing that used to be in Magic that no longer is. 2 such effects like this are Winter Orb and Static Orb. Winter Orb says that players can't untap more than 1 land during your untap steps if it's untapped. And Static Orb says players cannot untap more than 2 permanents during their untap phases, as long as it's untapped. This is a callback to when this was a thing with artifacts. They're tapped, they didn't work anymore, they didn't do their thing. So in the case of Winter Orb and Static Orb, you're going to have them untapped, messing up the entire table in a very Staxy way that will not make you friends at the commander table. And then when you get to the end step before yours, you just tap them to make some mana. You're like, oopsie, it's a mana rock, I'm gonna untap now. Howling Mine is exactly the same as well. At the beginning of each player's draw step, if Howling Mine is untapped, that player draws an additional card. Again, it's from the old school templating of artifacts. And thus, you're gonna draw 2 cards in your turn, then tap it as a mana rock using your new favorite friend, A Realm Reborn, and then pass the turn. And no one else is drawing cards. And thus, you got a one-sided Howling Mine for the low cost of 2 mana. The enfranchised and massive dorks amongst you will understand that this is how Urza, Lord High Artificer, plays one of his archetypal Stax decks. And of course, he's a cheaper way of doing this. But I think it's worth mentioning that this is in green, a different color, and it's not in your command zone. It's like a separate part of the deck. And also, it plays well with tokens and similar too. So A Realm Reborn is secretly a Stax card. Enjoy. This combo involves a new card from the commander product, Gata and Luzu, a 3-mana 1/1 with flash, and when it enters, choose target creature you control. If damage will be dealt to that creature this turn, prevent that much damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Now this isn't a pre-con deck, so you'd think you'd have to work hard to combo, right? No, wrong. Both of the other cards needed for this combo are in the same pre-con. You got Gata and Luzu, you got Walking Ballista, and you've got Hardened Scales. Oh whoopsie, we broke Walking Ballista. Oh whoopsie, we broke Hardened Scales. Both these cards are very, very good, either in combos in the case of Walking Ballista, or just a good, valuable card in modern and other formats where they're powerful in the case of Hardened Scales. Either way, this combo, if you don't understand it, is that you make a Walking Ballista, that's a 2/2 for example, you flash in your Gata and whatever the other name is, and you target your Walking Ballista. You then remove 1 counter from your Walking Ballista to target your own Walking Ballista. You then prevent that damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it, which is 1 counter. But Hardened Scale says, wait, there's more, and instead as a replacement effect we get 2 counters. You then, because the buff from Gata is still on your Walking Ballista, you remove a counter, target your own Walking Ballista, put 2 counters back on. Take another counter off Walking Ballista, target your Walking Ballista, put 2 counters back on, and then Gata and Luzu are your uncle and aunt, and you've got an infinitely large Walking Ballista that then kills the table. That's right, 3-card infinite damage combo in a commander deck in the set. Next! I've heard some complaints that this Tifa isn't good enough, and I don't agree. She's a 2-mana 1/2 trampling human monk with landfall whenever a land you control enters, double Tifa's Lockhart's power, and to end of turn. So in essence, if we give her +4 power off of a Titanic Growth in standard, and then you play a Fabled Passage, you have a 20 power creature by the time you've cracked the Fabled Passage and found a land, and thus you have a 20 power trampling creature to kill your opponent with. Now, of course, this is a 3-card combo, and it's acceptable to get having Tifa killed, but A, in Commander, no one plays any fucking removal, and B, it's a combo that can just involve a lot of other cards too. Ignoble Hierarch and a source of +3/+3, just a load of counters from another effect like a Bristly Bill, for example. Alternatively, you can play Tifa Lockhart, and then you can curve into Traveling Triggerbow, which doubles all triggers produced by lands and birds entering the battlefield. On turn 4, you play a Fabled Passage, and you crack it, so you get, or any fetch land for that matter, so you get 4 triggers, taking her to 16 power. You cast Scapeshift, sack 4 lands, get 4 lands, and suddenly she's got 4,000 power and she tramples. As a heads up, if you do this with 8 lands in play, which isn't that hard in a green commander deck, you'll have 1,000,000 power. Well, 1,048,576 to be exact, but who cares? Maths for nerds. Tifa is very strong if you want to play some fetches and beat the ever-loving shit out of people. Like, people have played Brushfire Elemental Index before. I mean, it's got another line of text on it, and it's got haste, I guess, but it doesn't even have trample. Tifa's good. This combo's pretty good. It's not, like, amazing. Like, you're not going to win every game you play with it. It's not broken, but it's pretty good. Next. Okay, next up we got this emo kid called Noctis, and we got a Mox Diamond. Noctis has lifelink, but more importantly, it says me cast artifact spells from your graveyard for paying 3 life, in addition to paying the other costs. If you cast a spell this way, the artifact enters with a finality counter on it. That second line is to avoid you looping the same artifact over and over and over and getting huge value out of it. Enter stage left, that Mox Diamond we mentioned. Mox Diamond has an important ruling about how it works. It says on the card, if this artifact would enter, and you may discard a land card instead. If you do, put this artifact on the battlefield. If you don't, you put it into its owner's graveyard. The notes on the rules information are as follows. If you don't discard a land card, Mox Diamond never enters. It won't trigger abilities that look for something to entering, and you won't get the opportunity to tap it for mana. So really importantly, it doesn't get a finality counter. But you will be putting it on the stack. You will be casting it and getting no ETB triggers, of course, but you'll get cast triggers. That's right, kids, we broke a Flux Reservoir. So you're paying 3 life the first time you do this, but you cast the spell with Flux Reservoir and gain 1 life. Next time you pay 3 life again, you gain 2 life. The next time 3 life again, but you gain 3 life. And from then on out, you are gaining life. Go to 50, activate a Flux Reservoir, and Death Star someone right in the tits. This combo's really funny to me because, like, we're breaking Mox Diamond, which, by the way, is a reserve list card that is approximately $600 to buy. So it's already considered quite fucking good as a playset in some legacy decks, but we're breaking it in a way that I've never seen before. I've seen recursion loops with Bomberman before, but never like this. But the output is a Flux Reservoir, a personal favourite of mine, but again, it's not hard to break. Just now you get to do it with your Esper weird-haired man in your command zone. Combo number 5 is coming right up, but I thought I'd take this moment to remind you to subscribe to the channel. A large percentage of people watching these videos aren't subscribed, so you should go down and click that subscribe button now if you enjoy the stuff that I make and you want to see more of this in your feed. Now on with the combos. Next up, we have Terra. Now, this card has a fucking, like, a book on it. This is War and Peace. I'm going to give you the cliff notes. She's a 3-mana 4/2 that when she enters, you mill 4 cards and put an enchantment that you milled back into your hand. And then 5 mana and tap Exile Terra, then return it to the battlefield transformed on its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. When she flips over, she becomes a saga that says create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste, and if it's a saga, put 3 lore counters on it. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. You do this 3 times, and on the 5th final pip, you make 10 mana. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Mesmerizing Dose on something. 3 mana, enchant creature. As it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature, then proliferate. Enchant creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So you want to put it on someone else's thing to tap it, of course, but you can even put it on the flipped Terra herself. But you want to have it on something else for what we're about to do. Then on the first saga trigger, we're going to target Mesmerizing Dose, make a copy of it, put on another creature tapping it down, and then we're going to proliferate. This will tick up the Esper Terra, the back end of Terra, and we're going to do it again, copying the dose and putting a counter on this with proliferate. Then we're going to do it again. So we've now got 3 more doses, all attached to things, all proliferated Terra, and the value here is that you can proliferate other things. You've got a Planeswalker or something else with charge counters on it, you're growing that while you do this. On the 3rd time of doing this, we're going to go up to level 4, get 10 mana in integers of 2 of each color, and then we're going to flip Esper back over. Now, Terra Magical Adept, importantly, does not have haste, and part of her flipping is a tap ability. So it's a 2-card combo to get a load of value, if you will, but in reality, if we can actually give her haste off anything else, Concordant, Cost Roads, Fervor, or any number of other things, Lightning Greaves, I guess. You can then activate her for 6 of the 10 mana. Obviously, you've resolved her mill ability as well. And you now have 4 extra mana in your mana pool. Terra flips over, she can copy the dose, and now you're going infinite. Problem is, when you flip it back over and then give her haste to flip it back over again, she is going to mill you for, is it 5? Yes, it's 5 cards. So it's not infinite because it will deck you out. However, 2 things. 1, it decks you out, but you're not drawing a card, and thus you don't lose the game here. So if you can do this loop over and over and over, and then cast like half your library with the extra 4 mana from each time you do the loop, you will win the game somehow, right? If you have Concordant Crossroads in play, every creature you end up making off of all of this will have haste. But further to that, if you just play one of the Titans, Ulamog, for example, is still legal in the format and will shuffle you back in, or Kozilek from the original Titan cycle, it will shuffle your graveyard back in, and you can do this infinitely. Yeah, she's fun. And then, but bearing in mind, like some of you are probably wondering why you're playing Dose. That's because the back end of her has all 5 color pips on it. So she's a 3 mana red-green commander that gives you access to all 5 colors of mana in commander in your command zone that does crazy shit like this. I think Terra is actually kind of bonkers, and this is just one of many, many routes of weird, dumb shit you can do with her. Okay, let's talk about the best commander in the set so far, and probably going to be the best commander going forward. Vivi Ornatia, I think might be a CDH commander. 3 mana, 0/3, you pay 0 and add X mana of any combination of blue and red to your mana pool, where X is its power. Activate only during your turn, only once each turn. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Vivi Ornatia, and it does 1 damage to each opponent. There's a whole category of card. There's a Curiosity, Ophidian Eye, and Tandem Lookout being examples of this. All of these cards say when the creature that it's attached to, whether it's enchanting or soulbond to, deals damage to a player, you draw a card. I should say player, it's actually opponent. And importantly, it says damage, not combat damage. So when you stick a Curiosity on Vivi Ornatia and you then cast 1 more spell, you're going to put a counter on Ornatia, you're going to ping each of your opponents for 1 damage, and then you're going to draw 3 cards. Because you've shot 3 opponents for 1 damage, you're going to draw 3 cards. And this makes Ornatia an incredibly powerful Storm commander. It's a 3 mana not Planeswalker, it's a 3 mana commander in your command zone that's going to generate you mana and card advantage when you combo these 1 card engine cards like Curiosity, Ophidian Eye, and Tandem Lookout. When you're playing a Storm deck, the thing you want to do is draw cards or make mana, and preferably both at the same time. And Vivi doesn't actually draw cards on their own. To get there, you need the engine, the 1 card combo as I'm calling it. But once you start to cast spells, if you have Curiosity into like 1 mana cantrip, 1 mana cantrip, or Vivi's now going to have 3 counters on her, on him, because don't forget the Curiosity itself originally triggered it too. So you've done 3 damage, you've drawn 6 cards, and you've put 3 counters on Vivi, and then you're going to pay 0 to activate them and put blue and red into your mana pool of 3 as well, any mixture you want. And thus you're shooting people, drawing cards, making mana. This is very, very good. Like I said, I think it might just be maybe not top tier CDH, but absolutely the middling pool, because it's a cost efficient commander that does this combo engine nonsense. And finally, we're going to talk about one that I've already spoke about on the channel, I think, but I spoke about it when it got previewed months ago. Celes, the Rune Knight, is a 4 mana 4/4 that says when it enters, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards +1. Fine. The more important part is whenever 1 or more other creatures you control enters, if 1 or more of them entered from a graveyard or was cast from a graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. And then you get a Murderous, Redcap, or any other creature with Persist, and then 1 sack outlet. Let's say any of the altars. You sacrifice your Murderous, Redcap, it goes to the graveyard. It comes back with a persist counter on it. It triggers Celes, growing your entire team. Celes herself, the Murderous Redcap, and every other creature you have in play. So you've now got this Cathars, Crusade style effect as it grows your team massively. And how counters with persist works is that if there's a -1/-1 counter on the Murderous Redcap, the +1/+1 counter neuters it out. You then have resolved the trigger, because Celes has this balancing element of whenever 1 or more, so you can't like mass reanimate your graveyard and get those triggers. However, you've resolved it now, and it doesn't have a once per turn limit. So now you sack the Murderous Redcap again, and you repeat the process. Your team, including Celes herself, get infinitely big, and you have infinite persist triggers, whether that be of a Kitchen Finks, although you can't play that in her in Commander because of the color identity, but Murderous Redcap is red-black and can be played alongside her, unless you kill the table and make your team infinitely big with a 3-card combo, 1 of which is in your command zone. Celes is quite strong. And that was 7 combos coming to you thanks to Final Fantasy, both the And that was 7 combos brought to you by Final Fantasy, both main set and Commander. I think it was a good mixture. Hell, fuck, most of those might have been from the Commander decks. Either way, they're all playable in Commander. Did I miss a combo that you quite like? Or a combo, a heavy synergy? I think all of these qualify as combos in my opinion. Let me know if I've missed one in the comment section below, and if there's enough of them, I might do 7 more, because it's the magic number from Final Fantasy 13. Yeah, that joke was funny the first time. It's going to be funny the second time. Fuck you. But if you post enough of them, I'll do a follow-up. Thanks for watching. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi, and thank you to ZBiotics for sponsoring this video. See you soon.